Hey, welcome back to another video. So round one of the World Snooker Championship is almost done. Whilst I'm filming this, the Day Brassell match and Selby Wollaston match still has one session to go. But that being said, most of the matchups now for the last 16 are decided, and let's get straight into it, taking a look at the matchups. Xintong, as we were expecting, brought his form from his 4 qualifying matches into the Crucible. As I expected, Jones couldn't deal with him in the scoring department, and he pretty much outplayed Jones throughout the match. He's certainly looking a dangerous opponent for anyone in the top half. Peifan also showed great form, not being fazed by playing the defending champ to get the win over Wilson. This could be a very good match if both players bring their best games, and I expect to see high scoring and lots of centuries. I expect Xintong to get the win and move on to the quarterfinal. Next up, we got Mark Allen against Chris Wakelin. Now, by the time this video comes out, the first session could well have been played, but let's look at it at the start of the match. What a win it was for Wakelin in the first round. Robertson came back at him so strong for a while, but after the interval, he got things back together and came out a completely different player and was making some very impressive breaks. I didn't see much of Mark Allen's first round matchup, but it looks like after a slow start, he got quite a comfortable victory over Fan. Allen certainly seems to be drawing a lot of inspiration from McIlroy's win in the Masters, and I think he feels that after so many years, this could certainly be his year at the World Championships. Chris will definitely make this a tough matchup for him, but I fancy Mark to go ahead, get the win here and move into the quarters. Next up, we got Ronnie against Pang Junyu. So Ronnie got the win over Ali. It was a difficult first session for Ronnie, but certainly the second session, I don't think it was vintage Ali Carter, but Ronnie came out on the second day and showed some very good form, and he'll be very happy with that win, which will bring him a lot of confidence. Now, Pang had a very difficult matchup against Zhang Anda. He was 7-5 down, but his break building and his pot success was very good in those final few frames, and he got the last 5 frames and pretty much quite easily dispatched a very experienced player in terms of the Chinese players, probably one of the harder, more match experienced players to play, and Pang looked very impressive in the end of that match. Pang has a head-to-head victory over Ronnie from the International Championship last year. They did play here as well back in 2023 with Ronnie winning 10-7. Ronnie did go 5-0 up, so it was lost very early for Pang. You're not going to come back from 5-0 down against Ronnie. If Pang can get a good start and not be overwhelmed by Ronnie and get into that final day 8-8 or even 9-7 up, I actually fancy Pang to get the win here, and I'm going to go for Pang to get the win, the massive win for him over Ronnie. Si Jiahui against probably Mark Selby, but let's not completely disrespect Ben Wollaston here. He really pushed Mark in that first session. Mark's obviously having some issues with his tip, but it looks like Mark's going to be too strong for Ben Wollaston. If it's C against Mark Selby, I think Mark's experience comes out on top. This is obviously the final we were so close to having in 2023 that never happened, with Luca Brassell with that amazing comeback in the semi-finals. I'm not sure C's got that form from 2023 back just yet. Although he came over Dave Gilbert quite comfortably, there were some errors for him, and his long potting doesn't look quite what it was. If it is against Ben Wollaston, I do fancy C to come through, but if it is the likely matchup of C against Selby, I fancy Selby to get the win here. Next up, we got John Higgins against Yao Gudong. Gudong showed great form in his round 1 matchup against Matt Selt. John Higgins looked a little bit off. He definitely gave Joe O'Connor chances. He didn't project, but I don't think Joe produced his best snooker, and John came out on top. In this quarter, I'm going to actually go for a bold prediction with a quarter of Mark Williams and John Higgins. I'm actually going to say neither of these win this quarter. However, that being said, I do take John to get this win. Next up, we got Fafai against Williams, and Fafai, he has been around a while now. He's certainly got experience. He's got experience against these big players and at the Crucible. Mark battled well in his first round. Wu Yizi certainly sort of pushed him all the way, but Mark got through in the end in a tight match. What form Hussein showed against Barry Hawkins, though, and I am going to go for Fai to come over Mark Williams and get this victory. He won't be fazed by Mark at all, and I can see him going out there, getting the job done, getting some high scoring going, and moving into the quarterfinals. So next up, we got Ding against Day or Brassell. Ding fought off very well against a impressive Zach Surety in round 1. At the moment, whilst filming this, Day against Brassell is 5-4, so that's pretty much 50-50 at the moment as to which way that match should go. Either way, I quite like Ding in this one to make it to the quarterfinals and set up a quarter against either Shaun Murphy or Judd Trump. And that moves us on to our last matchup of the last 16s, Murphy against Trump. After a rather uninspiring first day against Yulong, Trump turned on the style and was pretty much unplayable on day 2 to run out an easy winner. Murphy easily saw off Wells too, so both players are definitely showing good form so far. Said before, there'll definitely be dips in Trump's form over the course of the championship, and it does depend on those bad days for him, whether he can sort of do damage limitation and sort of not be too far behind. But I think Shaun is a very dangerous matchup for him. Shaun beat Judd here back in 2021 in a 3-session match, and I do fancy Shaun. He's got a lot of confidence at the moment to overcome Judd and get the win here and really fancy himself on the bottom half of this draw. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Obviously, I've gone with a couple of upsets in here. Who do you think is most likely to cause an upset? Who do you think is maybe the underdog to go all the way? I certainly think there's 1 or 2 players in there that might not be expected players that could definitely go deep and potentially even make it into the final. Guys, give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe if you're new. I'll be putting a video up of the quarterfinal predictions in a few days. Enjoy the snooker, guys, and I'll see you soon.